Working today with the GeForce GTX 260 OM. This is a 2009 video card with 1.7GB of VRAM, 192 shaders, and this video card is running with 580 MHz on the core clock and 1008 MHz on the memory clock. It's got 448 bits bus width, DirectX 10 support. We're gonna pair it up with this i7 4th gen with 4 cores and 8 threads. I think this is still a great setup if you're interested in SLI and old games, and it will be very interesting to see if you need 1.7GB of VRAM. So let's jump in a couple of games and let's see how this setup is running. Let's start with Fallout and see how the system is holding. Apparently this is the type of game that needs to be put on this setup. We need to see if it makes a dent in this setup, because majority of the time you will have to put either to high details or maximize the quality in such a way that the setup maybe it's struggling. But in this case you can actually see it's not struggling. It's using nearly 240 watts consumption, 400 megabytes of VRAM, 1.7. It's like nah, not needed, you know. I think the 800 megabytes model will be okay too. So in this case, if you want to play Vegas, you know, with this type of SLI, I think it will be okay even with 800 megabytes model. But I'm 100% sure one GTX 260 with 800 megabytes of VRAM will do the job in here. I think I like the system, how it's holding this video card, because it's doing a fantastic job. Only 3.4GB of system RAM being utilized. I mean, if I'm interested on playing Fallout with a computer, I think 8GB of system RAM will be enough. You know, look at this. The details are quite nice, you know, for an old game, and yeah, there is no problem here on actually doing the job. But if we're jumping in Metro with this setup, you can actually see on maximum details, it's utilizing the system. Maximum load on the GPUs, 100 FPS on every, with maximum details. I would say this is quite decent, you know. 550 megabytes of VRAM utilized here. You can actually see the game looks fantastic with maximum details. It looks and it runs fantastic. This is the game that needs to be on a SLI setup like this, you know. If I look on the system side, you get 3.2GB of system RAM being utilized, and yeah, it's not being stressed. 30 watts consumption from the CPU, 300 and nearly 30 watts consumption from the whole computer. Now it's utilizing the computer, you know. Frame time is smooth, there is no problem. 500 megabytes of VRAM, apparently it's maximum that is taking from this. But yeah, so overall Metro is good for this, you know. I like it. I like this type of games that are working with this SLI. But if we're jumping in Skyrim with this, you're gonna see that this setup is doing a great work with this game. Got sick nearly 60 FPS. I'm shocked, you know. I'm shocked that this setup is barely holding this game. I mean, I put everything on maximum details, 1080p, and you can actually see the GPUs are on 99%. I'm mesmerized that this game can actually put this computer on its knees. You know, what video card, what setup do I need in order to run this game? You know, I actually thought this is gonna be a flawless victory in this game with this setup. Seriously, it looks fantastic. It's utilizing the cores on maximum. You can actually see some FPS dips in this situation. There's a lot of spikes, you know. 300 watts consumption from this, and the VRAM keeps going up. 770 megabytes of VRAM utilized in order to get this quality and this performance. I mean, the core frequency is at maximum, memory frequency is at maximum, everything is at maximum, even the load. It looks and it runs fantastic, you know. This game is exactly for this setup, but yeah, I need some adjustment. If we're jumping in Darksiders 2, apparently with this SLI configuration, you got 60 FPS, 68, 70 FPS. It looks fantastic. 600 megabytes of VRAM utilized here. But I want to see this game running with all kinds of GPUs and setups, you know. This is exactly what I need from my computer. In this case, you can actually see the system, it's not being utilized. 3.4GB of system RAM used with less than 50 degrees on this computer, with 10-15% load on the CPU. So I like this, you know. I like this type of game. Oh, the spikes are everywhere. Look at the frame time. Yo, I feel the spikes in the game. Okay, so can I take that? What the fuck? Look at how fucking big it is. Yes, I freaking love it. Okay, so it's SLI compatible. Can't wait to test other video cards. But yeah, this is a good game for this video card. I got to use in Batman GTX 260. If you want to use hardware accelerated physics, you need a GTX 260. I got a GTX 260 now. But you remember last time we tested AMD video cards? It got so many problems. But listen, with GTX 260 in SLI, I expect only quality. Yes, I want to see how it looks. I want to see how it's performing. 60 FPS. Let's see what is going on here. Do I get some spikes? How it's working? 800, 900 megabytes of VRAM. Apparently with the old model, I mean the normal model of the GTX 260, not the old model, the normal model, not the 1.7 gig. You know, it's kind of interesting because this model, the 1.7 gig of VRAM, it's okay, you know, but the normal model apparently will have some problems. I don't know how they will work with SLI, you know, in this game, but in this case with 1.7 gig of VRAM and with this game at maximum details, you can clearly see that is doing the job, you know, so there is no problem here. It's utilized at maximum, you know, the core, but the VRAM it's not. I think it's all gonna reach 900 megabytes of VRAM, and then it's going to show you the true colors here. But if you are jumping in soccer, you can actually see that with the setup the game looks fantastic. This is maximum quality, maximum light, maximum everything, and on 1080p with maximum details you can actually see the system is doing fantastic. It's reaching maximum load. Not a lot of VRAM is utilized here, and in this case you can actually see the temperature is good, you know, on the GPUs 58 degrees 58 degrees on 2009 video cards. Name no, but regardless, okay, but the fan is on maximum. You can actually see 100% on the fans, you know. It's for testing, you know, but if you want to really keep this video card cool and the system, you have to find your sweet spot on the details. Lock the FPS to 60 and then the temperature will stay steady and not required for you to max out the fan, you know. Look at it, the quality is great, the light is good, everything looks fantastic. It feels very immersive, you know, if you want to play a stalker with this type of system. In this situation, the 260 in SLI is doing a fantastic job, but there is no need for 1.7 gig of VRAM models. 800 megabytes models can actually do the job. You can actually see with everything maxed out, 535 megabytes of VRAM utilized. Looks great, it runs great, the system has no problem. 20% load on the CPU with 30 watts consumption, 3.5 gig of system RAM and around 300 watts consumption. But if you're jumping in Black Ops 2 with this setup, you can actually see on maximum details. I got 1.2 gig of VRAM utilized, maximum details, 80 FPS. That's actually good. I think you can go up to 200 or something FPS, but in this case you can actually see it's dipping, you know, it's utilizing the hardware, it's utilizing the SLI, and I think this is kind of great for this combination to see the maximum power on this video card and this SLI. I mean, look at it, it's lagging like hell. I can't say nothing because whenever I'm zooming I got 30 FPS, so I need to adjust this setup, but I wanted to see how it's working. I got 300 watts nearly watts consumption from this. I mean, it's not the greatest, you know, when it comes to performance here. I think on low details would have been much better, but I'll take this performance because I wanted to see if I can justify the VRAM utilization from this. But if we're jumping in Warhammer Space Marine, apparently you can still play it online. I set up the game with 1080p and maximum details, and I want to see if I can actually play the game. Look at this, hundreds of FPS in this situation. Let's go there and see if I can actually do something. Come on, look at it, 50 kills. Oh my god, it's working really nice. So I'm utilizing only 300 megabytes of VRAM in this case. Oh shit, I mean, it's working. Can say it's not working, and I think that if you're looking at the computer side point of view, you know, if you're looking on the CPU side, you can clearly see it's capable of doing the job, but it's only 30% load, that i7 with 3.2 gig of system RAM being utilized. It's doing the job, you know, the CPU. Maximum core load on the video cards, 99%. on the video card. You can actually see I got 300, nearly 340 watts consumption. That is a lot from this system. This is the first time I'm seeing this, but the average on the FPS is great. You know, there is no problem with that one. 300 megabytes of VRAM only. So yeah, not a lot of VRAM utilization, so I think with the other models it's okay. I mean, it's a good question to say that is it worth having two GTX 260s with 1.7 gig of VRAM instead of having a GTX 295? Depends. If you can find those two GTX 260s very cheap, it's worth it because it's okay, you know. Even if the PCI Express lane is only 8x, you know, because of the main board, like in this situation, it's still worth having it because it's just cheaper and easier to maintain than a 295. 295s are very rare nowadays and they are very expensive, and having two GTX 260 like this in SLI, it's much cheaper to get, you know. It's easier to acquire than a 295 because those are very expensive. But regardless, I like the system. I will never bash an SLI because it's only for the enthusiast. It's not worth having this type of setup if you're interested in efficiency. If you have newer video cards or something that is more compatible with now, how should I say, with newer operating system and newer games, then it's okay to play older games with newer hardware, you know. If you're only interested in the games, newer hardware is much better. But if you're interested on playing on an OG hardware, OG games, then I think this is the best way to do it, you know. Having all the SLI machines, it's just something different. People will say, SLI is old. Okay. SLI is dead. Okay. SLI is not efficient. Okay. SLI, it's okay. Go to your new computer, go to your new hardware. Leave those SLI enthusiasts people with this, you know, because it's worth it. Having those two video cards in SLI and seeing them running both at the same time is just a different type of satisfaction, if it makes any sense. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but for those people who want, it's fantastic. And two GTX 260s like this with 1.7 gig of VRAM, it's a very cheap solution and I like it, you know. But if you have any suggestion for this SLI setup or for this computer, leave a comment and I will see you very soon.